And the other big drama this week was a new three-part, I think 3 parts?
4-part.
4 parts. Little Boy Blue, written by Jeff Pope, who brought us the Sheridan Smith saga.
Who brought us Sheridan's career?
Yeah,
basically.
Sheridan's dramatic career with Mrs. Biggs and Scylla and what's the other one?
The Moor side he was involved
More
in.
sides. This is another true story. This is set in 2007. It concerns the shooting of Rhys Jones, who's an 11-year-old who was walking home from football practice when he was shot in a pub car park. This first episode sort of builds up to the shooting itself and then sees the aftermath and the start of the police investigation led by Detective Superintendent Kelly, played by Stephen Graham. There's sort of 3 stories in this, really. There's the police investigation, the family, and then all the sort of ne'er-do-well thugs who were sort of involved. We talked about this briefly last night, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
You weren't a fan of it. I mean, with that in mind, I think maybe parts of this I quite liked. I thought everything with the family worked for me. The actors Sinead Keenan and Brian F. O'Byrne were really good at portraying the grief. I think it's the stuff. I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself here.
Yeah.
It's the stuff with the investigation. Even though I think Stephen Graham's very good, the performance is good. It's the writing of that stuff, and especially the stuff with the kids, the gang members.
Yeah.
I know from a fact, I've seen Jeff Pope multiple times, and I think he does quite a lot of research for these scripts and does try and make the dialogue as realistic as possible. But obviously, he won't be sort of privy to what went on between the gang members, so they've got to sort of imagine this dialogue. And between the imagined dialogue and the shoddy performances from the young actors, I think that is the weakest part of the first episode.
Yeah, we talked about the Americans and Line of Duty being dense with plot and emotional and all that, and it just felt a bit thin. Slight and thin. Yeah.
The other thing against it, I feel, is that it could easily have been at least a 2-parter, if not just a one-off. They could have done this as maybe a 90-minute one-off.
Yeah.
It would have worked a lot better. The scenes with the family, I think.
The scenes with the morgue scene was particularly difficult. The rawness of that, the scene where she realises, having gone to his bedroom to be near him, that she's still covered in his blood, that was very raw. It's just got elements to it that take me out.
I can't say that I wasn't moved by it. You know, the scene where they decide they couldn't save him in the hospital, that got me. I was moved by it. So it's obviously parts of it work for me. Again, though, I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with this.
That was my next thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It got to the end, and I don't remember the final scene, which is not good because I saw it less than 12 hours ago.
I saw it about 20 minutes ago, and I'm struggling.
My folks will want to watch it, so I'll watch it. But I wasn't as invested as I feel I should be.
It's I think this would be the strongest episode because it's got the incident itself in it. I think it's going to be diminishing returns as it goes on because it is going to descend into a police investigation, and we sort of know already who's done it as well. That's the other thing.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember I don't remember the original story.
But so we assume it's one of those gang members, though, don't we?
Yeah,
not going to be his brother or something like that. It's not going to be, because it's based on a true story. So it is going to. I reckon it will be probably quite anticlimactic. Similarly, I mean, like the Moore side, we said, oh, we know this story already, but because they focused on a different character, they focused on Julie, who we didn't know. I think that worked for the Moore side.
That was also only a 2-part.
Yeah, exactly.
I just feel like the majority of ITV dramas are a bit thinly drawn at the moment. I think Unforgotten and Endeavour aside, which we always are big supporters of, I can't wait for their new raft of dramas from their new commissioner to come in. I just find them all a bit bland, and I have to admit, there's just outside of the more emotional moments, the moments that I mentioned in the morgue and in the bedroom, I just found this a bit bland, and I suppose I should have cared more than I did. I also appreciated in its favour that I know I'd seen Sinead in other things, not as often, but I also appreciated that this wasn't Saran Jones and
Yeah,
Kevin
yeah,
Doyle,
yeah.
or, you know.
Yeah, I appreciated the fact that aside from Stephen Graham, there wasn't many sort of star. There was people you sort of recognised,
Yeah.
like a couple of the coppers. I mean, I recognised one of the football coaches, and
But that's because we're telly nerds,
yeah,
but
the wider TV watching people wouldn't.
yeah.
Even Stephen Graham, I mean, isn't a massive name, is he? I mean, he's
I
been.
appreciated the fact that it wasn't like
Mm,
Christopher Eccleston and I don't know, Saran Jones as a pairing, but aside from that, I just think all their drama output just doesn't affect me any. I'm a bit wise to it all, really. If this wasn't a true story, I don't think I'd been moved at all.
mm,
That's the thing. I think if I didn't know this was all based on reality and this terrible thing had happened to this perfect family, and this was just an ordinary drama that ITV had stuck on a Monday night, I don't know whether I'd been moved at all. I
yeah.
don't think I would have been.
If this was the plot of, say, Waking the Dead or something, I can't.
Yeah.
Silent Witness or.
Yeah, especially when there's the Americans' own line of duty is on, it just leaves all their stuff in the dust for me. I just think it's all kind of uninspiring and unenjoyable.